Y'all be safe. Let's see. Alright. So at some point, this is supposed to be the last video of December, or Star Power was supposed to be the last video of December. That did not happen. So I have no clue when this video is coming out. It might be a special video. We might do a special report for 2 Tuesdays for the first week of January. I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but let's fucking finish this before we get into our next series. These books are bad. It's not a good series. Obviously, the last time I did my big mega video, well, not the last time. Last time I did my big mega video, it was for alphas, and that was fun. It'll be fine. I actually really enjoyed sitting down to write these notes. Unlike with the alphas videos, we will in fact have interstitials. I've been watching the Quinton Reviews iCarly series. I've been a fan of Quinton Reviews like mid 2020. I had never sat down and rewatched any of the iCarly, the NSU videos. I hadn't rewatched any of those. I just hadn't. But I decided to, and I did not realize how many things from my like big Clique videos I picked up from him. Yeah, I was always afraid I was being a Mike's Mike ripoff. Turns out I have my notes. You can't read them because I like to write. When I get to write and do things that are just for me, I'd like to write in pastels because I don't have to worry about anyone else reading them, including apparently the camera. Let's start with book 1. I have to be somewhere in literally a half hour. Zoey Dean's Talent. Just as a heads up and a reminder, Talent, married writing couple Sherry and Jeff wrote an entire cavalcade of rich, bitchy, mean girls succeeding with the success of movies and TV deals. They had Sherry's kind of like Lil Nepo Baby. Her dad wrote for TV and she wrote for TV, and she wrote a lot of book adaptations of TV shows, whatever that means. So however, she's richy rich, and they ended up getting the deal for the show Privileged on ABC Family, and it certainly is what it is. I haven't watched the show yet, but that was in the early 2000s, in like the mid mcbling era. Moving forward into the quote-unquote modern age, they would see less success, and this I feel is like the start of it. When writing for the imprint Alloy, a middle grade book with less bitchy, jaded characters, they kind of failed. Book 1 sees fresh off the plane from Iowa Emily being talent scouted by young, hungry talent agent Mac Little Armstrong. Mac is trying to be the head bitch in charge of her Bel Air middle school, BAMS, and send her rivals, Ruby and Kimmy, you know, back into obscurity. She's got her girls. It's all, you know, it's whatever. Ruby is the child. Oh my god. Everyone at BAMS, every one of our main characters has something going on. So Ruby has a interview with Hollywood producer. Ruby's father is a Hollywood producer. He gets her he gets her an interview with bootleg Simon Cowell in a girl duo with Coco Kingsley, daughter of Can't Believe It's Not Scary Spice / Mel B, and Coco is also the best friend of Mac. This is huge and could launch her career as a starlet in her own right in the steps of her mother, but it means working with her friend's greatest rival. There's also Beck, She's there. Her plot in this book is being the third friend. She has a guy friend that she realizes that she has a crush on and who might have a crush on her. Austin wants to be friends with, obviously loves his friend, but is also being wooed away by Ellie, a big-breasted Ruby bot friend of Ruby Tatchman. The girls have each other and their futures ahead of each other. That was very short ranking. The first video was kind of long, so effectively Emily goes to LA with her mother and her best friend because her mother won an at-work lottery. Her friend has always wanted to be the big star. Emily is just so cool and so different and bitchy and quiet. She gets there and is able to successfully act her way into a party. Mac sees her and is like, I'm gonna make her star. Mac's whole deal is that she has no talent. Her mother is a talented agent, her father is a movie producer, her brother is a surfer, her sister's a super genius. Do you see how we have all these interesting characters and the least interesting character is the one that we're following? But Mac decides that that's going to be the thing that she does to win social chair. Social chair is being the head bitch in charge. She's just going to get that and rule BAMs. That's her plot. And she feels like Emily is her way in there. It is never... Their relationship is always symbiotic. There's never a point in which Emily ever feels bad that Mac is using her. And there is absolutely no point in which Mac is like, I'm only friends with Emily because she is my charge. There's, like, of course a forced misunderstanding is boring, but that seems so easy, I'm surprised they didn't do it. Coco's plotline is that she goes and she does her dancing. And then, because she's so worried about what Mac will think about her dancing with her rival, that she doesn't give it her all. And the producer's like, I want Tatchman, I don't want you. And she feels really bad about that because she's like, her mother is a star, why isn't she a star? And Beck's plot is literally what I described. It all comes together at a party because these people cannot have a successful party to save their life. They have a party. It turns out that Beck wasn't listening to Mac when she was giving her advice on not getting a sunburn. Tatchman tells Mac that Coco is her dance partner. Mac feels betrayed by Coco for not telling her. And Emily just feels like she doesn't belong. Plot has happened. So that's book one. I loved this book when I read it in the summer. Looking back on what the plot actually is now that I've read the entire series, I am less gung-ho on her. But it is what it is. Our first little interstitial. Parent power ranking. This book and this series has kind of a lot of involvement from each of the main girls' parents. Not Emily's, though. Emily's mom is back in Iowa. And again, the one parent we kind of hear from the most is kind of the worst. But it is what it is. So we have top of the ranking is Beck's dad, Asher Kutcher rip-off bootleg prank guy with a heart of gold. Cardamom, a mom who is a superstar but is trying her best to be there and be supportive for her daughter. Adrian, who I think gives too much agency to a child. Carter dad, who's a hotel mogul. He's not there enough for him to actually be a good dad. Beck's dead mom, because a dead mom can't be the best mom, but she's also not the worst. Adrian Little's movie producer husband. I'm refusing to call him her Mac's dad because I just don't believe it. And Emily's woo-woo ass mom. Emily's mom is really into The Secret and the power of manifestation. And so anytime anything happens, she's like, you gotta pray. You gotta, not pray. You've gotta meditate on it. You have to get really, you've got to, see where the laws of power are going to take you. Ma'am, your child's unhappy. You rescue her from this situation. That's my parent power ranking. Whereas the Clique had a terrible first book and a great setup and follow-up books, book one of Talent is great in a vacuum, but while looking back, it doesn't do anything. We never do anything. Nothing happens. And at the end of the third book, we have gained so little. Book two, Almost Famous. I had such high expectations for this book just for me to suffer. So now that Emily is staying in LA, it's now time to start school and gather and gain the social chair, head of the dance squad, and getting Austin. But they break the first rule of bitchy mean girl: do not conspire in public. They conspired over a video call that Catchman or Ruby was on. She hears about it and then decides to make their lives miserable. She, being Ruby, exacts this revenge by making Mac her assistant, kicking Coco off the dance team, making Beck surf train Ellie for Austin, and then embarrassing Emily in front of Bam's Fest, which is filled with producers who would be willing to put her into a role. Nothing is won and nothing is gained because the moral of the story is that middle school doesn't matter and that they should focus on their grind as almost famous people. Coco writes an indie folk hit about being the water girl for the dance team that Mac thinks can be a hit. Beck is thinking of modeling for Roxy alike, like surfwear company. And I didn't get into it here, but last book, the thing that Emily was doing was going out for this role opposite her crush, Davy Woodward. The director likes her, but the producers decide to go with a known actress, Claudia. In book 2, they have moved away from Claudia and are going back towards Emily. Yay! So we are still moving forward with our girls' goals. However, nothing was done in that second book. It is nothing but the girls getting beaten down, and every time they try to conspire or scheme, it fails. Why can't these bitches scheme? Why can't these bitches scheme? So we are still moving. Nothing means anything, and Emily, the only thing that has happened is that Emily is still in LA. I have here my nepotism to talent scale. I'll throw it up on the screen. I feel that Emily is the most talented with the least amount of nepotism. Beck is right in the middle between talent and nepotism. I believe that Mac has the least amount of talent, but the most amount of, not the most amount of nepotism, but for the amount of talent she has, the most amount of nepotism, with Coco having both the most talent and also the most nepotism, because she's literally got fucking Spice Baby, girl. And as we'll remember from my previous times talking, how much I dislike Baby Beckham. Brooklyn Beckham. Yeah. Alright, lastly, book 3, Star Power. Please, release me! I want very deeply to be done with this. So this book is just dummy. Nothing happens. And you can tell that this is a canceled series because nothing was resolved and nothing happens. If you stopped reading the Clique books at any point, Claire has had some growth and has gotten more confident with the rest of the group. The girls rotate around her in their allegiances with Mac and each other, but there is always some kind of movement forward. I think because the stakes are so low that each individual battle fought in each book is a win. Whereas if you just read book 1, that is a win. And if you read book 1 and 2, you're really stuck with this series where they're just like, yeah, I suffered a lot. And did you win? No. And at the end of book 3, I can promise you, we have some resolution, but it's not satisfying. What even happened in book 2? Trauma. Mac is in momager mode. She gets Coco an open mic to build up her new, more indie sleaze fan base for her music. Mac has had her change everything about her look and style, which feels disingenuous. The indie crowd who knows about Cardamom cannot take her seriously. It's identity crisis city. Beck wants to model and surf with the girly surf crew, the Dixie Girls. But turns out that Beck is really good, and that makes the rest of the girls hate her for it. Mac is too busy babysitting Emily on set of her movie, but Mac doesn't even know what Beck needs. Beck needs an ear to hear her and a shoulder to cry on, but she's not giving her that. She ends up sending her like these very cute bathing suits, but they are not the right bathing suits for actually like surfing. So it just feels like a slap in the face. She's alone with this fish out of water. Emily now finally gets to act. And she gets to act against Davy Woodward. Emily now gets to act in the series that she was promised. With Davy Jones Locker, no less. But she's nervous and oh no, Davy actually really likes Mac. Get back sir. Get back, elder devil. She's betrayed by Mac, and acting is already hard, and everyone's sad. Mac is trying to be a good manager, but not a good friend. She's grinding with giving Coco terrible advice, not being there for Beck, and literally telling Emily not to date her coworker while also having a crush on the coworker. It's Tension City. Mac has a failed party because what is the series without a failed party? And then she just talks to her mom, Deus Ex Machina style, and her mom's like, you're doing a great job because your clients are more successful than a lot of people's first clients are. But you have to celebrate your clients' wins. You can't just want more than they want for themselves. Mac apologizes and ends up getting Coco this really cool gig at the end of the movie. The end of the movie. That Emily is on. Check out my video about star power about that. All is forgiven and the plot is over. Rip series. Rip. I had such high expectations on those first books. You saw the video? Or you didn't. Check out the first video in this series. Nothing happens. And here are my final thoughts. Maybe it's me, and maybe it's a failure of the genre. The series at best is as a shitty Doogie Howser, game shaker, awesomeness TV type show. Nothing big, nothing dramatic, not a high budget, just tiny wins in Hollywood's. Friends shopping, singing, surfing, acting, crossing over into each other's interests, and causing conflicts that way. You've got this stable of characters with Emily, like a rival clique that actually is successful, that could have chess-like movements between the girls, but they don't. We swap them out. And Ruby and Kimmy are in book 3. They don't really do anything besides be minor nuisances because the conflict comes from one another in the 3rd book. I want more of the Ruby bots. I want more winning with the power of friendship. I had moments of fear that this series was going to be so bad this year that I was going to bail on the A-list. Luckily, I've started the A-list, because it was such an unsatisfying read. Finally, here's my ranking of the books. Talent. I wish the books had more cardamom, more pop star glamour. I hate that the plots are always resolving around Adrian Little Armstrong. Bet's plot being just a boy that hates her friends and that being the only boy that you want, that's not very power friendship of you. And the fact that this boy is also going after another girl, the fact that that girl is villainized to her friends because she's got big boobs, just all the things that just agitate me about introducing a male character into this dynamic. There were so many missed opportunities for different love interests between the PA that was on set with Emily. I liked the Davy and Mac thing. That was really good. But you can't really lean into it because A, it happened in the 3rd book of a failed series, and because we're too busy making sure that Emily feels good. So now for my favorite part. Where are they now? My overarching idea is that they're all in lifestyle vlogging content. They're on the TikToks, they're on the YouTubes, they're on the Pinterest, they're doing Snapchat. Beck is canceled for being body negative and a notable pick-me. Magazines will posit her as likable and an every girl, but it will just be hated every time she opens her mouth. I.e. Jessie McCartney. Did I really put Jessie McCartney? Oh my goodness. Jenny McCarthy, Chrissy Teigen. She will win a gold Olympic medal in surfing in the year 2028. Coco, a Lorde-style pop star with a solar power type switch up 4 albums in. She has an unprecedented double album with her mother. It goes double platinum in the streaming era. Suck it, Taylor. And she still works with Mac. Emily runs low-budget movies like the motherfucking Navy. She's the queen of streaming movies. You see her on Netflix. She will get an Oscar for something she does with Hulu. And her work. She has a sassy, relatable TikTok where she talks about, not being a nepotism baby. Mac will pose as a fresh out of college publicist, accidentally locking into getting dream client of Emily Schuyler. She'll be found out to be a nepo baby, but she'll make it work because she's so fucking chic and everyone's gonna love her. People do not care. And every time she almost gets canceled, people bring it up and they're like, yeah, but she's funny. Did you see the TikTok she did? Ruby and Kimmy will be gay lovers that will have the world's most expensive wedding. Mac will double this with her long-term boyfriend Davy Woodward because keeping up with your rivals never stops. Paige has so many children because she never leaves Iowa. This was a short one. I was really sassy on this book, and I wanted it to be done. By the time we were getting into blown out cysts, I just didn't want to be here anymore. I do have somewhere to be, but let's finish up. I have a soft spot for this series, as I was the same age as the girls during those years. The fashion is so nostalgic, despite being tacky and shiny as hell. But the series feels like Alloy looked at what the Cliques did. They're on the same imprint, and said just do that, and when it didn't work, the Dean duo just dropped it. I really am curious about how much A-List, Gossip Girl, and the OC all play into, like, how much the entertainment of the time plays into the A-List as a really excited to see what happens. I'm excited. We're gonna have a good time. I will see you next year with because I bought myself. I will see you January 31st, 2024 with the A-List, a novel by Zoey Dean. Fucking crazy, you guys. It's like everyone's doing, no one's doing cocaine yet, but everyone's fucking. And they're all just about to turn 18. And I'm like, why can't they be 18 yet? But I got 12 more books, so we're gonna see how this goes. Oprah! Happy New Year!